Hello and welcome to the Cyberbullying Devastating Effects, One Colorado's Family webinar. I'm Susie Gannett, and I am the facilitator for the Bully Free group on the NEA Professional Practice Communities Network. And tonight we are going to hear from Kristy Arnello. And before we start, a couple of housework issues. You won't be able to communicate with Kristy and I, but you will be able to. I'm clicking on questions and answers, and you'll see it pop up. And right there on the right, you can click and answer. And any questions you have, please list them there, and we will get the answers for you. The other thing is, this will be recorded, and the link, there's two links. The link, well, either link will work, but the link is on the Google event page, and the other link is on the YouTube page. And if I invited you, you'll automatically get sent an email with those links. And also, I will have the slides, a hard copy of the slides, up on my Bully Free group website. And I will tell you how to get a hold of that at the end during resources. And that is on the NEA site. And also, I would like to start off by having you watch a news clip that I think it's just incredible. It tells a lot about this family. So, further ado, let's get this clip up and take it away. Bear with me.
Suicide. KIANA's law was her parents' way of.
Okay, let's try this again. Okay, one more time, and I'm going to hand it over to Kristy.
Learning something good out of something so tragic, and they invited me into their home to share KIANA's story. Your personality can mean nothing. They are words that can be incredibly painful. No one likes you at school, especially for a teenager. You're disgusting. Dealing with depression. Everyone hates you. For 14-year-old KIANA Arellano, those words were devastating. This is 16-year-old KIANA now. KIANA. 2 years and 2 months after trying to take her own life. It was a Sunday afternoon in this house. Only KIANA and her dad were home that day.
I can't get this one Sunday. Went back downstairs. She was on the couch. I touched my daughter. I said, what are you going to do? 911.
Their lives changed forever.
There was some times in the which was an ICU where it was pretty bleak, you know, the
oxygen left KIANA needing round-the-clock care, a feeding tube, and because of a severe brain injury, communicating only with her eyes. Those steel blue eyes, taking it all in. And us, too. Can you tell him hello? Look at the red. Hey, how's it going? Wow, that's nice. What were your dreams for KIANA, for your family? I remember Shanna used to banter and tease about her being an attorney or a doctor or, you know, she was super smart, super good at school. They knew their daughter was struggling with depression and were dealing with it. What they didn't know was that KIANA was getting hateful texts. It wasn't until, you know, day 2 or 3 of when we were in the hospital for the attempt that came to light. You know, a friend of hers shared it with me and shared the screenshots with me of, you know, what was said. 1, 2, 3. Cyberbullying had sent her into a spiral, and her family had no recourse, no one to hold accountable. That's where KIANA's law comes in. Taking words and turning them into something positive. When it was renamed after her, how she smiled, and that was our sign that we knew we had done the right thing. And now a family so grateful to still have their KIANA in their lives. I know one of the things, Christy, you talked about is husband is your hero. Absolutely. She wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. He did things that I don't know if other people could have done it. Except I think it was like he was here that day. Sorry. Suicide, bullying, topics people don't want to talk about, but the ARELLANO'S say you have to talk with your kids and find help. Cyberbullying, a misdemeanor harassment charge, and bullies could be fined up to $750 and 6 months in jail.
Thank you for watching that. I am now going to turn you over to Christy Arnella, KIANA's mom.
Meet Shelley. She can make a Labrador look like, well, either one. And she's a market.
Sorry, my dog's going a little crazy there. So thank you for the introduction, Susie, and thank you so much for giving us this forum to talk about this important issue. I don't know how, Susie, did you get any feedback on whether people were able to see the news clip okay? I think you're muted.
There we go. I just got it from you, so I'm hoping you're able to see that.
Okay. So I just really wanted to take some time, again, kind of talking about KIANA's story. We'll be covering different topics on cyberbullying and ways that you can talk with your kids. I do have a presentation prepared, so I'm going to go ahead and share that now. Okay.
There we go.
So this first slide, I just wanted again to show you guys some pictures and some different pictures of KIANA and our family. You know, it talks about when we went down to the state capitol, we probably went down there about a half a dozen times testifying. We met some amazing people down there, other people that shared their stories that, you know, helped this law become a reality. And it was the amazing work of Senator Newell and Rhonda Fields, Representative Fields, that really kind of propelled this law forward. They tried to pass it in 2013 as its own standalone law. Unfortunately, it was shot down in the Senate at that time, and so they introduced it in 2014 and really went about it in a very strategic way. They got, people from the public defender's office, representatives from the sheriff's department and the law enforcement agencies, really got a bunch of diverse groups working together so that we could get this law passed. And then we were able to participate by sharing her story. We went down to the House of the Floor, and they were talking, and they proposed that they rename it after KIANA, and now it's called KIANA ARELLANO'S Law. And if you look kind of in the top part of your screen, in the middle left hand, there's a picture of her with a kind of a smiling expression, and that was the moment that it was named after her. And that was really what gave us insight that we had done the right thing by sharing her story. She does communicate with her eyes. She can answer yes or no. She can make choices. She does have a device that we're learning how to use, and we're learning how to program with her. But really, every step of the way, we've asked her, do you want to do this? Do you want to go down to the state capitol? Do you want to share it? And between her and her sister, they've really been strong supporters and strong advocates for this law. Susie, I don't know, I'll pause there. I don't know if there's any questions. Otherwise, we'll go into the rest of the slides unless there's anything that you want me to add or elaborate on.
No, I think that's good. We don't have any questions. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that that is Katie and KIANA's brother there down on the kind of bottom there, right in the middle. And that is KIANA to the right when she was a cheerleader. And of course, the other pictures is our KIANA. And of course, the family. Go ahead, Kristy.
Okay, thank you. So the first thing I think that's important to talk about is really learning where your kids are spending their time online, or learning where all of our kids are spending their time online. This is just a graphic that I had seen at the Children's Hospital website, where it talks about 24% of teens go online almost constantly. I know I see it in my household with my 2 other teenagers. And then 92% say they go online daily thanks to the widespread uses of all the mobile devices. But at the bottom, you can see, Facebook at 71%, going through all the different mediums, where people are spending their time. So that really helped me. I mean, by the time I got on Facebook, my kids were ready to move off of Facebook and onto something else. So I'm always playing catch up with them, trying to figure out where they're spending their time online, what they're using. And my youngest daughter, bless her heart, she invites me a lot. Why don't you join Snapchat, Mom? Why don't you do all these different mediums? Which it's hard because I know everybody's working full time, or they're supporting their family inside the home or outside the home. So I know it's a challenge, but really being aware of where your kids are spending their time. I mean, I think we all know what cyberbullying is. I mean, you hear the term, but I think it was pretty eye-opening to me as we took this journey with KIANA. I didn't really, at the time, I didn't know that she was being bullied online. And I didn't understand the implications of that. It's electronic technology. Our kids are at least my kids are way more advanced in it than I am, but it's using your cell phone, your computer, your tablet. And then also any communication tools, including those social media sites, text messaging, websites. It can be mean text or emails, rumors. It can even be in pictures, inappropriate pictures or embarrassing pictures, videos. I mean, everybody has their cameras everywhere all the time now. So there's really no place that you're private. So, even if they snap something inappropriate or something that's maybe not so flattering of you, and then they put it online. Also fake profiles, and we'll talk about that a little bit further in the presentation about how they can keep themselves safe, from fake profiles. So cyberbullying, why is it different than the bullying that maybe we experienced as kids? It's a 24/7 it can happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is no downtime from it. You know, if your kids are online, they can see it. And I think what makes it extremely difficult is, you know, when we got bullied out on the playground, we came home and that was our safe place. The home no longer is that safe place, because as soon as they get connected again, they can see it again, they can relive it again. And they can be, the images and the messages can be posted anonymously, and that makes it even more threatening in some ways, because you don't know who's doing it. You don't know if it's, you know, the person you're sitting next to. You don't know who's putting these threats up, or these you know, threatening images or words. And then deleting it or trying to get rid of it once it's been up there, it's extremely difficult. As you know, it's all there. It's always there forever. Some of the signs of your child is being bullied, and you know, I definitely saw some of this with KIANA looking back in hindsight. It's also a lot of the same signs that you will see, you know, if your kid is suffering from depression, that they start to isolate themselves from their peers or their family. They withdraw from the activities that they used to love. For KIANA, you know, she was always heavily involved in cheerleading. And she even got to the point where she didn't want to go to practices anymore, or she, you know, wasn't, you know, even talked about, maybe I shouldn't do it this year. Maybe I'm not good enough this year. You know, not eating well, not sleeping well. They may even avoid certain situations. So, you know, they've never had a problem getting on the bus for school. Now all of a sudden they're terrified to get on the bus, or they don't want to take the bus to school. They're begging you to drive them. Could be because it's, you know, that there's a situation on that bus that they don't want to confront. With younger children, you might see them acting out in more, you know, getting more into trouble, or being disrespectful at home. And then I think with adolescents, just becoming more and more withdrawn. Tips for parents to help prevent bullying. So make sure, you know, you really open up the lines of communications with your kids. You know, talk to them while you're in the car. I know I always just ask my kids, you know, how was your day? And the one, you know, the one word response was always good. You know, so just trying to dig deeper. What was good? What was bad? What did you like? What was your favorite part of your day? What was the worst part of your day? And making sure that they know that they can bring issues to you. And I think what's hard is, you know, when they bring certain issues to you, like they're being bullied, of course you're upset and you're angry about it, perhaps, you know, so we're just making sure you kind of temper those feelings, you know, so that they don't think that you're angry at them. I also would suggest or try to keep the lines of communications open up with my kids' friends and their parents. So there were lots of times where KIANA would bring her friends home, you know, and of course they go through your snack cabinet and eat everything in the house. And, you know, that used to kind of irritate my husband, but it was like, well, at least we know where they are. And if they're here, you know, a lot of times the friends would share things that KIANA wouldn't necessarily share with me. And then I could circle back and ask KIANA about it later. So, you know, just keeping those lines open with your kids, your child's peers, and also with their parents. You know, I used to make a lot of phone calls to the parents, you know, especially with KIANA. If it was somebody that I didn't know very well and she wanted to have a sleepover, or they were going to have a party, you know, always calling to check with the parents to make sure somebody was going to be there, those kinds of things. And then also with your children's teachers and coaches, guidance counselors, you know, just asking questions about beyond the academics or the sport involved. You know, how are they dealing with their peers? How are they socializing at school? Those kinds of things, you know, can shed some insight. To prevent cyberbullying, really trying to be aware of what your kids are doing online. So making sure, you know, one of our big initiatives was sharing our story and KIANA's story, was making sure that the lines of communication are open and just asking your kids about cyberbullying. I've been really excited, you know, a lot of former colleagues or people that I used to know that I don't really keep in contact now have reached out to us when they see, you know, the news item. and just tell me thank you, because this gave me a forum to kind of ask my kids about it, or, open the lines of communications with them. Just establish rules about the appropriate use of computers, cell phones, and other technology. Really know what sites your kids are visiting online, what they're doing on, who they're doing it with. I now tell my younger daughter that I may review her online communications at any time. And you can judge from them whether there's something, that they're concerned about, or, I think just letting them know that that's what you're going to do as a responsible parent. You can also install parental controls. I haven't used any of the filtering software. I try to do it more just, visiting the sites she visits, either following her or friending her in the sites that she's doing, but also letting her know that if I think something doesn't feel right, I will look at her text, or I will look at her online site. We talked about, the fake profiles, but, really making sure your kids keep their passwords safe, and, asking them not to share it with their friends. That gives them, if there's a fallout between the friend and the friend all of a sudden has their password, then they may be tempted to do something on your child's profile, unbeknownst to your child. And then one of the things that I think is important is asking for their passwords. And so what I've talked to my youngest daughter about is, I want to know all the sites that you're on, and I want you to list your passwords, and we'll keep it in your room. And, if I intend to use it, I'll either let you know, or I'll definitely use it in the case of emergency. I think that would have been hugely beneficial with KIANA's situation, because when this all happened, I only became aware of it because a friend of hers shared the text screens with me, or the screenshots with me. And I think had I had passwords to the site she was on, we may have been able to uncover some additional evidence, so to speak. So I think, I've also told my youngest daughter, if something ever happens to you that way, say you don't come home from school one day, then I'll be able to trace back your steps and see where you were. So hopefully nothing that dramatic, would ever happen to your kids. But I think it's important that you have their passwords, and that again, what sites they're going to be on. And then just encouraging your kids to tell you if they or someone they know is being cyberbullied. I think some of the feedback or some of the comments I've heard on the news stories as well, just take that kid, they should have taken KIANA, saying, we as parents should have taken KIANA off the social media site. Well, I don't think that the victim should be punished. I think there's other ways to go about it. So just assuring your kids, I'm not going to make you get off the site, but I need to know about it so that we can take appropriate actions if it's happening to you.
Hey, Christy, I want to just jump in a second. I think that's really important, because a lot of what you just said about, well, just take them off of social media. Well, unless you're going to move them to a distant planet, kids are savvy, and they're going to find a way, one way or another. So, and like you said, it kind of sends a message to the victim that they're doing something wrong. And you've got to remember that their social media that's their connection to their world. So I think that's a really great, important point to make. Thank you.
So things that you can do if you find out your child is being bullied. If you suspect it, but your child is reluctant to tell you about it or hasn't brought it up to you, find opportunities to bring the issue up in a different way. So maybe you see something on TV and you use it as a conversation starter, or you hear something on the radio, or they share something at school. Just ask them, have you ever seen this happen? Have you experienced it yourself? How do you feel about this? What should that person have done? I think, again, it gives me great, I don't want to say joy, but it makes me feel happy that we're sharing her story when I have parents come to me saying, you know what, I showed my kids your story and we talked about it, and just opening up those lines of communication in any way that you can. If they tell you that they're being bullied, just trying to be calm and offer comfort and support. I think in KIANA's case, I look back and you always have the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and the guilt and the regret. But I think she just was so embarrassed and ashamed of what was being said about her that she didn't want us to be upset or maybe feel less about her, which heaven knows we wouldn't have. But who knows what's going on in those teenage minds. So really, praise your child for doing the right thing about talking to you. Remind your child that he or she isn't alone, that a lot of us get bullied, even as a child or even as an adult, there's always some unkind things that are being said in our lives. So just reassure them that they're not alone and emphasize to them that it's the bully that's behaving badly, not the child, that they did nothing wrong, that it's the person that's putting the information out there that is in the wrong. I think sometimes, as it says in that last bullet, sometimes it's useful to approach the bully's parents. But I guess in most cases, I would urge you to talk to your teachers or the counselors, to contact them first. It'll help you understand what the policies might be at school. And then, if there is a need to outreach the other parent and they aren't going to do it, but maybe they can help you mediate it so that it just puts an intermediate party in there to kind of help keep things calm. Steps to take if you do find out your child is being cyberbullied, or if there's cyberbullying taking place. Don't respond, don't forward the cyberbullying messages. In KIANA's case, I got to read her responses, and I was so proud of her, the way she responded. It made me proud as a parent because she was just telling them, you need to stop, you need to leave me alone. But that just gave them an audience, so to speak, to keep on posting those threats and those horrible things to her. I think one of the best things that we did is I had the screenshots because her friends brought them to me. So saving and recording the dates, the times, what was said, and just printing or saving those screenshots so that you can share them later if you need to. And definitely blocking the person. There's all these different sites out there. I'm sure they all have terms and conditions and ways to block and ways to report things. So, just making sure that you or your child knows how to block these people, and change, you can change your settings to control who can contact you or your privacy settings, and definitely reporting the abuse to the social media sites so that they can take the appropriate actions against those users. And again, just letting your kids know that if they're being bullied or harassed, or if they see it happening to someone else, that they really should talk to somebody about it, whether it's, you as the parent or another trusted adult, or even a sibling, because the sibling often will bring it to you or encourage that child to bring it to you as well. If you need to, you can take it one step further and report it to law enforcement, especially if there's threats of violence, if there's any child pornography or inappropriate photos. It says here taking a photo or video of somebody in a place where they would expect privacy. So if there's something done in the bathroom or a locker room, if there's any sort of stalking or hate crimes, you may need to consult your state laws and law enforcement. I found the school resource officer to be a good resource for me when I'm dealing with different issues with my kids, because they are a law enforcement officer in most cases. And again, reporting it to the schools, because it can definitely be disruptive, not only to your child or your student, but to many students that are also seeing this kind of unfold and that are stepping in to take sides and those kinds of things. So finally getting to KIANA ARELLANO'S law, you'll see on the right-hand side, this was actually in the governor, our governor Hickenlooper's office when he was actually signing the bill. You'll see KIANA on his right hand, well, his left-hand side, but on the right side of the picture. And then Senator Newell's in the hot pink dress, and then Rhonda Fields was the representative that sponsored, the other representative that sponsored it, and she's in the purple on the right-hand side, right behind KIANA. But really it updated the Colorado current harassment law, and it states that a person commits harassment or if with the intent to harass, annoy, or alarm another person. And it talks about it directly or indirectly. So whether they posted it directly to KIANA or to the individual, or they can just put it up on social media, some sort of derogatory threatening remarks. They could put it up on Facebook. They could send it to another person. So it could be banter between two other people about a third party. But, you know, that was a lot of debate because they wanted to take that indirectly out, but the senator and Representative Fields both felt that indirectly was just as harmful as directly because it's up there for everybody to see. The law went into effect here in Colorado on July 1st, 2015, and it applies to offenses committed on or after the date. It's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by $750 and or 6 months in jail. And the link on here just takes you directly to the statute or the new law. It's just on the Colorado General Assembly site. So finally, just kind of after, you know, if there's an event for your child where they were bullied or cyberbullying, it can really erode their confidence and help hurt their self-esteem. So, you know, to help restore it, you can encourage your kids to spend time with friends that have positive influence, participating in the sports or the activities that they enjoyed and that they excel at, you know, just building those strengths and friendships back up. You know, providing that listening ear again, not only for the things that might be not going so well in their life, but also encouraging them to tell you about the good parts of their day so that you can, you know, recognize their accomplishments throughout the day, let you know you believe in them and that you'll do whatever you can to address any concerns they have. And then really take it seriously if you hear that the bullying got worse or will get worse if the bully finds out that your children, that your child told somebody. And if you if you have concerns about the child's safety, contact either the authorities or, you know, definitely letting the school know again. So Susie, that's all I had. I think you wanted to talk about the different resources or open it up to see if there's any questions.
Yes. Thank you so much, Christy. And if you go out of screen sharing, I'll go back in. Thank you. Hello, everybody. And a couple points I want to make that I think are very important. I want to thank Christy more than anything for having the courage to tell KIANA's story. And I also want to make a couple points here. A lot of people, when they see this story, think, oh, cyberbullying. Okay, she was called names, or she was called fat or ugly. The texts that KIANA received were beyond that. They talked about wanting to kill her, that she should have. And my 32 years as a counselor, I have never, ever seen texts like these. So it goes beyond the just, you know, you're ugly or this is serious business. And I think that's important to realize because a lot of people will say, well, we can't legislate because somebody, you know, doesn't like how somebody looks. But it's beyond that. And so I think that's really important. The other thing that I think is really important to know is Kristi and her husband and the whole family, they had a wonderful relationship. They talked about things very openly. And what we know is kids, even if they're, they have a great relationship with their parents, when something like this happens, when they're getting these messages, just like Kristi said, they're ashamed. You can have the best relationship in the world with your kiddo, but if something as devastating as these text messages were, kids are very, very embarrassed. So I think those 2 points are really important to remember. Right now, I want to bring up the resource slide. Oh, you gotta love it. They won't even let me scroll down. Okay, maybe that's not going to work. Let's see. Put it in a different form. Okay, let's switch here. Okay, let's Kristi, do you have that? Can you pull up the last slide?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Can you see it?
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Here are Kristi's resources, and I also will have more resources added onto this. I will have up on how to join my group on the NEA website, and also the NEA's Bully Free website. I will also have those links available. On all these resources are excellent places for parents to go. I know a lot of parents and educators, everybody says, what can I do? I'm only one person. Well, the first step is checking out these sites. Go on the NEA Bully Free and sign the pledge. And it just takes 5 minutes at the most that you will start, that you can develop a relationship. And I highly encourage educational support professionals. Those are our lunch ladies, our bus drivers, our paraprofessionals. Those are the eyes and ears and have the pulse on what's happening in school. And most of the bullying that does occur happens where the paraprofessionals are monitoring. So I think it's really important. Please look at those resources. Please just go to the NEA Bully Free network site. It is great. I also want to reiterate that we will have the links are all up on the event page because this is being recorded. I will have a hard copy of the slides available on my website. And I will also have the resource slide. I will also email that to all the invitees. Now, when I invited you, you will automatically get all the links and all the information. Again, I want to say, this may be KIANA's story, but unfortunately, it's a story that's becoming all too familiar across our country. The silent epidemic is affecting our children. It has infiltrated our homes, our schools, and our communities, and our children's lives. There's no doubt that social media has changed the name of the game when it comes to bullying. And helpless parents like the ARELLANO'S stand by while this epidemic takes control over their children. And my one wish is for any of you is let's give KIANA back her voice, and let's make sure that no child is ever silenced by bullying. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you again, Kristy, so much.
Thank
Kristy,
you.
is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, just again, thank you for inviting us and giving us this opportunity to talk about this important topic.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. They are just an amazing family. And I am so proud and honored to know them. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.